All right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. Got a whole bunch of good news stuff for you today. The main topic of the day is that ASICs are eating up the ZCash network and are invading and causing the majority of people, which are GPU miners, to lose tons of profits. So if you are in the mining world, you may know that AMD cards, typically because of HBM2, a little bit better at Crypto Night and Ethereum than NVIDIA, whereas NVIDIA typically see higher profits with Equihash and Lyra 2, etc. So the majority of people with NVIDIA miners, NVIDIA GPUs rather, typically favor Equihash for a mining algorithm, although it runs a little bit hotter than Ethereum, and so it depends on what you really prefer. But ASICs are dominating the mining landscape. They're taking over Ethereum, they're taking over Kryptonite, they're taking over all sorts of things, even though Monero did fork, which was a good thing, which I feel that many other developers should be doing. But before we get into that, let's talk about something kind of fun. So here is an image that I professionally cut from my email. It says, "Hey, MrSotko, first of all, great job on your videos, I'm sure." I'm sure that's what you typed to everybody. This is Lulu from the Event Strategy Consulting. So this is what crypto YouTubers deal with every single day. And unfortunately, some of them respond to these emails a little too often. And that's why you see them promoting random things out of thin air that they didn't figure out that they received in their email. So it's from Event Strategy Consulting, and I'm not really too concerned with Event Strategy Consulting because that's just their job. And they're representing Versara Trade, which is a trade finance platform powered by crypto credit enhancement. Again, kind of means nothing. Their founder, Sean Liu, is a tech leader, serial entrepreneur, a decade worth of experience in the fintech industry. All right, so it says people refer to Versara Trading as a rising star for its great potential. ABC News and other mainstream news media have reported Versara Trade recently. Oh, have they? Because, you know what? I never seen any mainstream media talking about Versara Trading, so, let's do a little bit of research that seems apparently like nobody else on the planet except for me is doing, and that's probably why my channel is fairly stagnant and views are going down, because people just want to be told anything but the truth. They want to know how to make $20,000 a day and how to watch Crypto Nick needlessly make a $20,000 hash flare contract. Why anybody would watch that, I don't know, because once you know how to do it once, why would you need to watch it again? Guy got 100,000 views for that. I got nothing. Anyway, so let's head on over to Versara Trade. And I was already down there, but you know what, we want to start up here. So it's essentially an ICO, a white paper. Oh, good stuff. Read through it all just to see, if mainstream media is talking about it, why not look into it just a little bit? It could be kind of cool. And so here's in the press. So we see that a lot of some semi-major news sources. Now I don't know what some of these Chinese ones are. Because I don't really follow the, Chinese news. But if you're American, you certainly know what Fox is, and ABC, or NBC, or whatever that is, ABC. So let's check them out. Let's see what they have to say about this. So let's click on Fox 19 now. Okay, so we have an article here, Versara Trade, the world's first trade finance platform powered by crypto credit enhancement. And just let's note some of these first words here. Overall, the biggest challenge facing SMEs today is a lack of trade finance availability. Okay, let's scroll down a little bit more. And so the idea for Versara was conceived in October 2017. Okay, so there's that article. Let's see what ABC has to say about it. You seeing where this is going? Are you guys already seeing where this is going? Then you have an IQ greater than triple digits. Or rather in the triple digits, okay? If you don't, might want to do some Sudoku and get that up from 98 to above triple digits, or in the triple digits. God, my IQ is sinking just talking. Okay, so Versara, the world's first trade finance platform powered by crypto credit enhancement. Overall, the biggest challenge facing SMEs today is a lack of trade finance availability. It's the same article. It's the same thing. Where's the oh yeah, the idea for Versara was conceived in October 2017. It's literally the same article. I wonder what 12 NBC News has to say about it. Oh wow, the biggest challenge facing SMEs today is a lack of trade finance availability. So Versara just paid people to and gave them an article. Nobody actually wrote this article because if everybody wrote the same exact article with the same wording, one, that's plagiarism, and two, that's the biggest coincidence that has ever happened in the history of the universe ever. Oh wow, I wonder what CBS has to say about it. Overall, the biggest challenge facing SMEs today. 2017. Wow, it's the same thing. So this is exactly why I don't bring you guys ICOs that appear in my email all the time. Every day that I wake up, there's like 4 of them in there. This is why. This is exactly why. Because without actual reviews, actual people writing their own opinions, whether they be negative or positive about the thing, or any kind of... so this bashes NBC, ABC, CBS, because clearly they were just paid to post this same article on each of their websites. How much they were paid, who knows? Obviously this is nothing new, paid promotions, but it just goes to show why you should avoid the ICO world anymore. You can't be trusted. Is this going to turn out to be a great project? Maybe, but that's the thing. It's just maybe. So how can you put your money into it? How can you trust it? They want me to do an interview with a guy that is Sean Liu. They want me to do an interview with him. That's part of the thing. Is that in a nutshell, we want to do an interview, with Sean. Yeah, it says it in there somewhere. Screw it. If I did the interview, I'd have to ask him, hey, what's up with all of these paid advertisements that you just gave everybody the same exact article? Who wrote this original article? Was it Versara Trade that wrote this article and then just basically said, hey, here's $10,000, ABC, put this on your website for the news? That's shady. That's called being shady. Don't do that. Anyway, back to the main story. So a bit over a month ago, Bitmain announced the release of its Equihash miner, the Z9 Mini, painting a target on cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin Gold, ZCash, Komodo, ZenCash, Zclassic, and other currencies that they don't feel like mentioning. Not long after that, we got a report from Forklog, a Russian cryptocurrency publication, that ASICs have been taking over a large portion of the cryptocurrency's hash power. So during the last 15 days, ASIC miners from Bitmain have aggressively increased their share of extracted blocks in the Zcash network to 40%. Undermining the position of the largest pool, Flypool. In the coming week, there may be a fundamental redistribution of control over the network in favor of ASIC miners. So such incidents could be catastrophic if they can get a 51% attack on the majority of these coins, which has already happened with ZenCash and Bitcoin Gold. But if it happened to Zcash, which is a much larger currency, it could be catastrophic. I think one of the last bastions now that ASICs are not on is Lira 2, which includes Vertcoin and Monocoin. And I don't believe any other coins at the moment. I would like to see a lot more coins on the Lira 2 algorithm. So it's basically the last bastion. I'm sure that Equihash is still profitable for now. But let me get into that, because not all of these Z9 minis have gone out yet. When you order a Z9 mini from Bitmain, let me see, bring up the Bitmain website here. You don't get them for over a month. So this isn't shipping. This isn't receiving it. This isn't shipping till the 20th or the 30th of June. And these come from China. So if you're in America, you're going to have to wait a while. They're going to have to come across a boat. It's going to be at least a couple weeks till you get it. We're talking till in August that you won't receive this particular batch. And there's been numerous batches already, and I'm sure some people already have them. So the more and more time that goes on, the more and more people receive these. In a month, we're going to see a totally different story in terms of difficulty, and in 2 months, we're going to see yet another story. We're going to see chapter 2 of the difficulty with Equihash screaming upwards, and everybody's going to basically have to quit mining Equihash with their graphics cards. It's not going to be worth your time. Now, the Ethereum ASICs, those weren't so great. You could get the same amount of hash power just by buying maybe like 5 or 6 480 or 570s, or 580s or something like that from, AMD, and you could get the same amount. So they weren't that efficient. They were okay for the price, but nothing too crazy. There's nothing too special about them. So let's take a look at the ZCash difficulty. In the past 30 days, it's gone up by 20%. And you can see in the past 90 days, it's only gone up 14.69%. So that kind of shows that, in the past 90 days, the overall change hasn't been that much because not too many of these Z9 minis and other EcoHash ASICs haven't really got out to the public as much yet. And the more time that goes on, the more people are going to receive each batch as it gets shipped out. But we can see, if we zoom in a little bit here on the chart, that there has been a pretty significant increase of, back just in May, less than a month ago, we were at about 7 million, 8 million difficulty here. And now we're looking at anywhere from 13 to an average of 10. It does spike downwards from time to time. But overall, it always spikes downwards from time to time. So, overall, we're up about 2-3 million in terms of the difficulty chart. And you can even see here, 618, we got about an average of 10. And then if we go all the way down to the bottom here, just in, mid-February, we're about an average of 8. And you can see it just slowly going up to about an average of 9, and then up further. Now, this is natural, and the current ZCash difficulty is at 11 million, and it's going to fluctuate. And it's always going to go up as more people are mining and more coins get produced. But we're going to see a massive increase here pretty soon. And it's going to be just about worthless. And another problem with getting the Z9 Mini is that, one, this is one of the most efficient machines I've seen. This batch is $2,000, but they did sell some for like just $1,000 or $850 or something like that, which is incredible, absolutely incredible in terms of its efficiency. However, you can see that the profitability has absolutely dumped. When these were first announced, it was actually about $50 a day. I think it was like 49 something. And you can see that it has just been absolutely dumping ever since. And now the profitability of them is just about $20, $21 a day. So by the time you receive this, if you say, hey, that looks like a good deal for $2,000, I can make my money back pretty quick. Well, yeah, you kind of can. But again, there's a lot of problems with ASICs. Is that it's not just 2,000. You got to ship it internationally, which is a ton. These things weigh a lot. The Z9 Mini doesn't look like it weighs too much. I think maybe its weight is in here somewhere. But either way, it's going to weigh a lot, so it's going to cost you, as much as it costs a computer to ship internationally. And when they break down, you have to ship it back to China. So, just eliminate 2 months. A month to get it there, a few days to fix it, and a month to get it back. And then you have to pay customs charge the whole time, and you have to pay the shipping charge. So there's a lot of hidden fees with these, including, of course, the electricity. However, the electricity usage is extremely low compared to graphics cards, only 300 watts. So let's just take into consideration that a 1080 Ti, one 1080 Ti, is about anywhere from $800 to $1,000. Their prices are going down now, but let's just call it, $800. So if you bought two for about the same price as a mini, let's just say you bought two, you'd get, about 1,200, 1.2 mega hash, mega souls, if you will. But this does 10,000. It does 10,000 mega souls, which is $20 a day, and the 1080 Ti is just not happening. Right now, it's actually Ethereum Classic is the most profitable in terms of the 1080 Ti. Well, actually, no, I forgot to hit calculate. Got to hit that calculate button. Oh, got to get rid of those too. Got to hit that calculate button. We need that calculate. So Gencoin, yeah, Lira 2 are starting to become, some of the best. I can't believe Verge is still up there. Who would mind Verge? You kidding me? But overall, the wattage of a 1080 Ti is about 250 watts, and now it can peak above that. And of course, you can keep it lower than that too by lowering the voltage of the card and underclocking it, etc. But then you're just going to get slightly reduced hash rates. But 685 for about an $800 to $1,000 piece of equipment, as opposed to just paying $2,000 and getting 10,000. Now that's not even the beginning. Let's take a look at this one, the InnoSilicon miner. 50,000 souls for 620 watts. So now for three 1080 Ti's would go above that and would only get about 1.8 mega soul, 1.8k soul, if you will, which is just basically nothing. It might be $6 a day, maybe $5 a day, something like that now. But the 50,000 is essentially just about, of course, 5 times this much. Let's see if we have a mining calculator, and let's mine some ZCash. Let's try ZCash, huh? And we'll try 50,000. So right now, that's pretty hefty at $97.10 a day. So just about 10 times the amount of the Z9 Mini. But when this one was first announced, it was about $144 a day, $150 a day, and now it's only down to $97. So again, by the time you receive this, when are you even going to receive it? So this thing costs about $10,000, I think. Yeah, sales from $9,999, which seems pretty incredible because I mean you're getting almost $100 a day with it. So that's not a problem. But by the time you receive it, it's going to be down to $90, and then by the time you start it, it's going to be $85, and it's just going to keep going down. And the more people that receive these, particularly these, the better. Or rather, the worse. I mean, excuse me. And the difficulty is going to increase even more over time, and we're just going to end up seeing less and less profits. And then GPU miners, they're going to have nothing. I mean, your 685 hash rate on your 1080 Ti is not even going to register on the scale, and you're going to be getting $1 a day maybe for your 1080 Ti. So you can see the vast difference. And for 3 1080 Ti's would be about about 750 watts, yeah. And so 620 watts for less wattage, you can get 50,000 souls instead of just like 1.8k. So the difference is huge, and all of these ASIC miner manufacturers and FPGA manufacturers are ruining mining because the majority of people don't have these ASICs. The majority of people just don't. I mean, the majority of people have GPUs. You might have a gaming computer. You might go out and buy GPUs because they're a lot easier to purchase for you. You can just go to the store and grab them. You can go online and grab them. But these are a pain. You have to set up. Sometimes you have to set up bank transfers to get them. Sometimes you have to, you have to set up international transfers to get these. And when they break down, you have no hope of fixing it unless you send it back to the manufacturer back in China, as opposed to NVIDIA, where you can just mail it in and it has a warranty and you can get another one back, or you can take it back to Best Buy or Fry's Electronics or ship it back to Amazon or Newegg, and get a new card in replace for basically nothing, for a drive to the store or to ship a box for maybe $13 back to NVIDIA to get a new one. So the majority of people have GPUs, the majority of people's hash rate, and the majority of people earning money, is on GPUs. So with ASICs, it's kind of like, the idea is kind of like, is it better to give 10 people $1 million, or is it better to give 1,000 people $10,000 kind of thing? And the idea with economics is it's better to give 1,000 people $10,000. I hope my math wasn't wrong on that. Probably is. Anyway, so, it's better to split up the money rather than hoard the money on just a few people. And, that's what ASICs are doing, is it's just giving more money to a fewer people. And then the people with GPUs end up having to look and find a better algorithm to switch to, Raven Coin's doing pretty good. Time Travel 10, Bitcoin Core, Bitcore, wow. So, things are changing, but either way, ASICs are coming out pretty quick, and Lyra 2, now X16Rs, so we have some bastions left, but for the most part, all the coins are starting to get swallowed up with ASICs, and it's just a sad, sad time. So cryptocurrencies could bring the internet to a halt. So this is a little overblown. It's a little bit dramatized, sensationalized, if you will, but it does have some pretty good points in this. So the Bank of International Settlements just finished an annual economic report, and pre-released a portion of it on Sunday. The release revealed the bank's official opinion on cryptocurrencies and their limitations. So to process the number of digital retail transactions currently handled by selected national retail payment systems, even under optimistic assumptions, the size of the ledger would swell well beyond the storage capacity of a typical smartphone in a matter of days, beyond that of a typical personal computer in a matter of weeks, and beyond that of servers in a matter of months. And I would disagree that it's actually much faster than that. If crypto was dealing with the amount of transactions that Visa or MasterCard or something like that has, it would swell beyond a smartphone in probably minutes, to be totally honest. Or maybe just hours. Indeed, perhaps one of the biggest problems plaguing most coin blockchains today is the fact that every computer acting as a node has to store a copy of the ledger, the full history of all transactions ever executed on their backbones. So that's the problem with blockchain, is that they're actually kind of inefficient. The good thing about blockchains is that it's immutable, and it creates a sense of of honesty, and you can put smart contracts in there. You can write things to the blockchain that can never be changed, or you could have a coin like Bitcoin or Monero that's private. And Bitcoin's not as private, but you get what I'm saying there. You have this coin that people can use, and it's never really intended for worldwide adoption. It just can't be at the moment. Some coins can and have transactions capable of, in the tens of thousands, but like things like Bitcoin. So blockchain is really best for things that I think a lot of people don't want it to be for. They want it to be for this worldwide adoption. They want everybody in the world to use Bitcoin, but the problem is with a blockchain, it's actually a pretty slow, inefficient method in terms of speed. It's really good for privacy. It's really good for immutability. It's really good for writing smart contracts and putting things into the network that can never be changed. But we all expect blockchain to, be the future, and, maybe it is, but right now it's a little bit slow. So currently, Bitcoin's blockchain reaches around 200 gigabytes with transaction volumes that are nowhere near as high as those by Visa or MasterCard. Under such a model, it would eventually be impossible for a normal computer to run a node. Inevitably, the Bitcoin blockchain would reach several terabytes in size, allowing only technically savvy users with the resources to buy several 10 terabyte drives to run full nodes. Kind of true. It hasn't reached terabytes yet. So as of now, a regular computer, of course, can fit it. This is a problem that the cryptocurrency community is already aware of and anticipating. So it's going to be a slow development, and, humanity is really good at changing as it needs to. So, with slow developments, humanity's really great at that, and we'll change it over time as it gets there. So I'm not too worried about it, but there are some, interesting things in this article. In a conversation with a member of the Zcoin team that we had not long ago on Telegram, we found out that a lot of core developers for different coins have other priorities at the moment and would get around to addressing this issue once it really pushes the limits of modern computers. Exactly. So right now, there's other priorities to do. For now, of course, that isn't quite the case. 200 gigabyte fits comfortably inside standard hard drives sold today, and we don't anticipate Bitcoin's blockchain ballooning to exabytes levels anytime soon. Bitcoin isn't the only cryptocurrency, though, and there are already a number of foundations focused on solving this issue, like Vitalik Buterin, for example, proposes sharding the Ethereum network and Plasma, which will make it less cumbersome to download and process all transactions. So you can essentially have the blockchain here and here and here, and they don't necessarily need to communicate with each other. Because right now, as soon as I send out a coin, it has to go to every single node in the world. They all have to recognize that. So that's a really slow process, and it causes a lot of information, because that's not just 1 megabyte going to you. That's 1 megabyte going to all the nodes in the world. So under this model, full nodes won't have to process the entirety of the network's grunt work, instead getting pieces of it asynchronously. So Buterin alleges that the Ethereum network would theoretically be capable of processing 1 million transactions per second under this model. So the second problem that BIS sees in blockchain is the amount of processing power required to verify transactions and the amount of traffic required to broadcast them to all the nodes in the network. So the issue goes well beyond storage capacity and extends to processing capacity. Only supercomputers could keep up with the verification of the incoming transactions. The associated communication volumes could bring the internet to a halt, as millions of users exchange files on order of magnitude of terabyte. But how large are blocks in a network like Bitcoin's anyway? So historically, a block on Bitcoin's chain never surpassed 1 megabyte. One of these blocks is often processed by the cryptocurrencies network every 10 minutes. So let's say there were 100,000 full nodes on the network, and there are actually about 10,000, but we want to provide a generous number for sensationalization purposes, but okay. That means that every 10 minutes, 100,000 megabytes of traffic are generated on the internet. And that sounds enormous, but it's a tiny blip to the thousands of terabytes that go through the pipelines on a daily basis. So with sharding and other scalability improvements, we can confidently expect a reduction in the amount of that data transferred. So imagine if all the people in the world were using Bitcoin, and let's say it wasn't 7 transactions per second or so approximately. Let's say it was 100 or 1,000 or tens of thousands, and everybody in the world was using it. The traffic on the internet would just be absurd. It would be so crazy. So there's a lot of work to do with blockchain and actually making cryptocurrencies, a bit faster and a bit more viable in the fast-paced world that we have. Because when Black Friday and Christmas rolls around, there are so many transactions. You go into the store and you swipe your card and you stand there for 30 seconds and the cashier goes, "It's running slow today." Well, that's because there's like a million transactions going on at the same time, all backed up. And the only way that they can be processed is a supercomputer is processing them, a mainframe computer is processing them. So, a bunch of servers at Visa headquarters or whatever. So it just goes to show that, we have a lot of work to do. And I also want to bring up something yesterday about yesterday's video. I had a lot of people that just don't seem to get it. And there was a lot of comments because I basically said that, people right now with crypto are just simply holding on to it like baseball cards. And that's not what crypto is. It's a currency. It is a currency. And yes, you can hold it, you can trade it, you can do whatever you want with it, but you have to understand that the world as a whole needs to start using crypto to actually make it viable, because when you're out using Bitcoin, and then that person receives Bitcoin, and then they send Bitcoin, and then that gets people talking about Bitcoin, the world needs to demand it. The world will only change if the world wants to change. And so far the adoption process of crypto is really, really slow. Just drive around your hometown, drive around your home city. Do you see many vendors accepting cryptocurrency? You don't. So the idea is that you got to go into that local mom and pop shop. You got to go into that local smoke shop and say, "Hey, do you guys accept Bitcoin?" And they might say no, and be like, "Hey, do you need help setting that up? I can help you set that up." All you need is a wallet. You can, you can print out a QR code and people can just scan it with their phone if they want to pay in Bitcoin, and tell them the benefits of it. Tell them, it goes up and down in price all the time. You can trade it. You can hold on to it. You could buy things with it. You could convince other people to accept it. You could hold on to it, and it could go up to 10,000 and then sell it. And, it turns out the several $100 of Bitcoin that you made by accepting it is now, instead of 300, it's now 450. It's now $500. And that's huge for a mom and pop store or a local store or something like that. That's huge. And, it's not going to get too big unless people use it. If you hold on, because what people's argument was is that they were saying that, of course, by holding on to it, it creates rarity and thus increases the price. No shit, Sherlock. I've taken economics. I went to college, okay? Like, this is toddler stuff. We don't need to go back to 5th grade. If you want to go back to 5th grade when you're 11 or 10 years old and bring your book of trading cards and trade your Barry Sanders holographic card for little Joey's Michael Jordan card, go ahead, right? Because that's what you're talking about, is you just want to hold on to these for years and then expect the price to go up. But the thing is that, yes, the price might go up because if everybody holds it because of rarity, but once they're all sold out, what's the point? If you're just holding on to it, it's not a currency. It is a cryptocurrency. These aren't crypto kitties. These aren't baseball cards. There are two people, and I am one of the people that likes to hold, trade, and sell for fiat. And then there's the group B people who just want to, hold on to their coin and only use Bitcoin. And the thing is with those two in common is that both of them need to use Bitcoin or crypto in order to raise awareness of crypto, in order to actually use crypto. Because if you're just sitting on it and holding on it and talking about how you sit and hold on it, that's going to convince other people to just buy it, sit on it, and hold on it. And that's going to raise the price, and then you can sell it. Sure, great. But what was the point of that? Why not just go out and get a job and earn some fiat? Why sit on your crypto and let it just... You know what I'm saying there? I'm a little confused as to what everybody's intention with crypto is. It is a currency first and foremost, and you got to use it. You got to talk to people about it. You got to convince other people to use it, actually buy and sell it. So yes, I know that by holding on to something, it could raise in value because it increases rarity. Go back to 5th grade. If you want to say things like that on the channel, don't even bother. I'm gonna delete it because it's so 5th gradey, so Michael Jordan trading card that I don't need it. Get it up out of here. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.